You guys played the festival circuit ongoing for a while there. What was that like, that audience interaction and showing them your film?
Man, it was so good. It was so much fun. We premiered at Toronto, and
that's Michael Weston talking. Just so you know,
yeah.
You can tell
okay.
because it sounds like
I have this silky,
like
smooth tone.
little kid, like a baby kid.
Yeah, with a big manly voice for a child.
For a child, like if a child had an awkwardly deep voice, it would sound like Michael Weston.
Yeah, like a child who you think might sing jazz really well. Yeah, I feel like, man, we premiered at Toronto. It was awesome, and you never really know what's going to happen with the film and the festival stuff. It's such a precarious thing for any indie, and we got bought by this wonderful company, Oscilloscope, and then we proceeded to play many of these little festivals, and I have to say, like, more rewarding than almost any other project I've been on. It just, you could see from the audience, like, we got to do these Q&As, and I think we're going to do them, like, all weekend long in L.A. and New York, because we open in New York on the 21st and Philly, and then out in L.A. on the 28th. And just to see the audience reaction to this film, I feel like it just delivers a little kernel of hope that just sparks hope in the audience and sends you sort of out bouncing away, and there's just something really warm and charming about it, and you never know what you're making when you're actually doing the film, but being able to sort of see this film in all these different markets and all these different demographics, and finding, like, these old dudes that played instruments come out and be like, oh man, I love that, and like,
yeah, that was really surprising. That the kind of whole like reaction for the baby boomer generation is that, because that was the music generation. That was the generation that all jumped in a Volkswagen and hitched a ride across the country, and the response from them has been so wonderful as well.
And just that, I think it preserves that sort of feeling that you can actually, like, that your childhood dreams and they have merit in your adult life, and there's something really beautiful about that sentiment.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask you a question about the music, because so often in movies that concern bandmates and such, you don't actually see the music being created. You just see it being performed. And one of the scenes I love the most in your film is the scene in the car where you honestly, genuinely feel the creative process with the music. Is that how it kind of evolved in real life between the two of you?
Yeah, I mean, something that I really, really wanted was that sense of kind of that moment of creation in the film, because I always, like, having been in bands for so long, that moment when your guys are playing something or you're in practice and you're trying to write a song and all of a sudden stuff starts to come together is such a neat, wonderful feeling that you don't really get a chance to see much in movies. You see the end product, and all the stuff was recorded live when we were doing it.
All this shit was recorded live, man. So, like, I had no idea when I got this part that I was going to actually have to play this shit live. I didn't understand that. It wasn't put before me until after I had already said, okay. And then Ryan was like, oh, yeah, and by the way, do you play piano at all? Because I'm going to ask you to play 74 baby instruments at the same time. And then so we got on set. Literally, we had 18 days to shoot this movie, and in that time span, we had to really learn all the songs for the movie and play them all live as we went along. And it was we'd shoot these days of 14, 15 hours, and then we'd go back to our like motel room and we'd bang out a new song that we had to shoot the next day, and it was gratifying and terrifying all at once.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but when I'm thinking about the themes of this movie, they kind of touch upon childhood dreams and how do you make those survive as you kind of face adulthood, because there comes a time when we all must kind of enter adulthood.
That's exactly it.
The music kind of reflects that. I mean, it's you utilize the kind of the children's instruments in the actual music. I mean, was the style of the music, did that fit thematically with the actual film, do you think?
That's exactly it, man. Is that what I was attempting to do is just like what you said, is, this idea of, can you bring your childhood, ideals and your dreams into your adult life, and do they in fact survive? And I thought a really interesting way to explore that would be with the tools of children. That Alex is constantly, going back into that. I mean, and there's all these themes that, of, Jim with his little kid onesie pajamas, and, Alex, when he finally abandons, the idea and leaves Jim behind. I mean, he ends up sleeping in a little kid room on the floor, on a little kid, sleeping bag. It's that attempt to break out of that shell and kind of have a synthesis of those two things.
I feel like in our lives, it's so easy to get wrapped up in the responsibilities of your sort of adulthood life, and in the practicalities of all that, you lose some of your innocence, and maybe you temper some of your passion, and you maybe even rightly so, you allow yourself to let go of some of that fire that got you started and put you on your path, and you get, maybe, as I've found in my own life, sometimes it's harder to take those risks and to put yourself out there where you once were fearless about it, and I feel like there's a real call to battle in this movie that I feel like really is inspiring and really delivers that hopeful message where you feel like you're allowed to fail, you're allowed to fall on your ass and fall on your face all at once and in front of people, and so be it. And you don't have to apologize for it, and you don't have to be embarrassed about it, and you don't have to worry about what all the critics are saying. You just get back up on your feet and you say, in the name of my passion, in the name of my life, that's what I do. And I'm really proud of that in it, because it was on the page when I read it, and then when I saw it in the theaters, that's what I felt.
And I just want to put it on record real quick that when Michael falls on his ass, simultaneously he falls on his face.
My ass is very close to my face.
Almost undistinguishable.
It is. I have that. It's both a pro and a con.
He's like an earthworm.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to follow up on what you just said, that kind of dynamic, because you guys have made just such a great movie, and I'm sure you're both at a place now where you feel like you're living kind of your childhood dream, but when times got rough, as I'm sure they do for all of us, what made you keep the faith?
I feel, in my life, it's been my friends. I really do feel like the people, and that's what's so beautiful about this movie too, man. I just feel like, not only in the actual, physical shooting of this movie, where it just required all hands on deck. You have 18 days shoot, and you need everyone's collaboration and everyone's A game to actually just get from point A to point Z. But I feel in life too, this movie, it's about a friendship, and these two guys, they support each other, and they sort of, complete each other in the, one guy has the ability to think sort of pragmatically, and the other guy has the sort of bold-faced passion, and you need both sides to really survive in the world, and I feel like these two friends really, they help each other, they challenge each other, and they sort of grow with each other.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Well, I wanted to ask about one of your cast members, because he's terrific in the movie, and I personally don't feel like I get to see enough of him, so he felt like a real revelation in the movie, and that's Andrew McCarthy.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah,
he's terrific in it.
When I was casting that part, I was looking for something really specific, it wasn't easy to cast. It wasn't like when I cast Michael's role where I just basically lined up 700 people and picked the smallest, most awkward creature, and that was Michael Weston. But like when I cast Andrew McCarthy, I was like thinking of, because that could be a real villainous role, if it was done really kind of like generically, like, oh, the Christian brother who let his brother, do what he wants or judges him in some way. But I never wanted it to be like that. I mean, I grew up with a Christian family, and like, I never found them, or at least my family, to be all that judging because they loved the shit out of me. And that's the thing, is that Andrew's character, Alex's older brother, loves his brother like crazy, and he feels a sense of regret that, that he did a lot of having to be the parent figure because his parents weren't quite around, and was trying to do the best he possibly could. And Alex was a weird kid that didn't go by the books. And, Andrew's character really was, faced with, is where Alex has ended up, my fault if he's going through some darkness, can I help him? I'm always there for him. And Andrew really, really nailed that. You get a sense that he really cares about him, even though he's still trying to give him some tough love along the way.
Yeah, I love that about the way that part was written and it was played. I mean, it was beautifully done, that role. Before I let you go, I want to ask you guys, because obviously it's apparent in the movie and it's obvious talking to you both now together that you guys have great chemistry. And this is your opportunity to say something nice about the other person. What as difficult as that might be, what gels between the two of you?
Ryan is like my brother, and there's no, like, we hit it off from the get-go. We were kindred spirits in it. We both, he had such passion, unabashed sort of passion for this movie, and he's just a good soul, and we struck it up, and we just loved working together from the very moment we got started, and it's continued on into our lives,
I mean, I feel so lucky to have met Mike, because this was such a hard 18-day shoot. We had to record all the music live. It was really, really tough, and you need somebody that's not only able to deliver, but somebody that's also kind of in your corner and willing to let you, push them to certain, limits. And I feel like the limitations that we had, due to budget and all this stuff, actually made us more creative and brought us closer together. I mean, I just got married recently, and Michael read something at my wedding. I mean, it was like, he's become one of my closest friends in the whole world, and it happened really fast because, I don't know, he's an open-hearted guy that just wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's a good dude. And when you're working on this kind of stuff, you need a safe place to work, and Ryan really created that, I think, for me and for everyone else that came in, and that's why you get all those sort of beautiful performances from Wilmer Valderrama and Jason Ritter, and just and why you attract people like Melissa Leo and stuff, just to be a part of this, because you need an open heart and a big spirit to get this stuff even off the ground, and to see it all the way through. It takes everyone on board, and I have to say, to everyone who worked on this film, all the actors, and then also just like top to bottom, there was an incredible just spirit of just like good people that came with their passion and their hearts and their hard work, and it made it really one of the most fulfilling and sort of best acting experiences in my life.